There's a moment. You've probably lived it. You're talking to a woman you're genuinely attracted to. The conversation is going well. There's warmth in the air, maybe a little tension. And then comes the impulse. Touch her. You reach out. Your hand barely grazes her arm. You pull back almost instantly. You look away. And just like that, something shifts. Not dramatically, not with a slap or a rejection, just a quiet, almost invisible cooling. She's still talking to you, but something changed. You felt it. She felt it too. And what she felt wasn't what you intended. That moment, that hesitation, communicated something you never meant to say. And I want to tell you exactly what it said, why it said it, and how to completely rewrite that script. I'm Natalie Whitman, and today we're going into territory most people won't touch. Pun intended. Because physical contact is one of the most powerful forms of human communication, and yet it's also the arena where most men unknowingly eliminate their own attractiveness without saying a single word. Let's start with the root of the problem. Doubt is a repellent, not metaphorically, neurologically. The human brain, and particularly the female brain wired through millennia of survival instinct, is extraordinarily sensitive to signals of conviction versus hesitation. When someone moves toward you with certainty, your nervous system registers that as safety, strength, and leadership. When someone moves toward you with hesitation, it registers as threat, weakness, or deception. Think about that for a second. A hesitant touch doesn't read as polite or respectful. It reads as uncertain, unworthy, or worse, sneaky. Like someone reaching into a cookie jar and flinching before they even get there. That flinch, that pullback, that is what's quietly destroying your impact. The first and most common mistake is what I call the ghost touch. You know this one. It's the touch that almost happens, the hand that lands on a shoulder for half a second before retreating, the brush of the arm that you immediately regret, the contact that has no beginning, no middle, and no end, just a nervous flutter that disappears before it ever meant anything. Here's what that communicates at a subconscious level. I don't believe I have the right to be here. And here's the devastating part. She doesn't consciously think that. She doesn't analyze it. Her nervous system simply processes it as a signal of low conviction. And low conviction, in the language of attraction, is one of the fastest ways to move from interesting man to pleasant acquaintance. Physical touch that is worthy of her attention has a structure. It has an intention behind it. It begins with purpose. It exists fully for a moment, and it ends cleanly. Not abruptly, not fearfully, cleanly. Like a man who knows what he's doing and has no reason to apologize for it. Think about the difference between someone shaking your hand firmly and looking you in the eye versus someone offering you a limp hand while glancing at the floor. Same action, completely different message. The message isn't in the gesture, it's in the commitment behind it. The second mistake is touching without anchoring. Most men, when they finally do make physical contact, make the error of looking away, at her hair, at her lips, at the room, anywhere but her eyes. And I want you to understand something important. A touch without eye contact is a disconnected touch. It's a touch that speaks from the body, but not from the person. The real power of physical contact isn't in the hand. It's in the combination of touch and presence. When your hand makes contact and your eyes are steady, calm, warm, direct, the message is completely different. The touch becomes an extension of your attention. It says, I am here, fully, and so are you. There's a reason this matters so deeply. Human connection is built on the synchronization of multiple signals simultaneously. Eye contact alone creates emotional proximity. Touch alone creates physical awareness. But when they happen together, something shifts in the nervous system. There's a transfer, not of manipulation, but of presence, of genuine confidence. Conversely, when a man touches and looks away, the subconscious reads it as concealment, as though he's trying to sneak something past her awareness. That reading activates defensiveness, not openness. The emotional wall goes up, not because she decided to put it there, but because her instincts built it automatically. 4 to 5 seconds of steady, calm eye contact accompanying physical touch is not a challenge. It's not a stare down. It's a declaration of presence. It says, I'm not hiding. I'm not apologizing. I'm simply here. The third mistake is what I'd describe as the dead hand, touch without weight. Attraction is not fragile. Attraction responds to dynamism, to vitality, to the sense that the person in front of you is alive and fully inhabiting their own body. A touch that is feather-light, barely there, communicates a lack of aliveness. It's the physical equivalent of trailing off in the middle of a sentence. Now, I'm not talking about aggression. I'm not talking about grabbing or forcing. Calibration is everything, and we'll come back to that. What I'm talking about is the difference between a hand that lands with warmth and intention versus a hand that skims the surface and apologizes for existing. A firm, warm touch on the forearm, a confident hand on the lower back, guiding rather than groping. A shoulder squeeze that says, I see you, I'm here. These are not acts of dominance. They are acts of presence. They communicate that you are grounded, comfortable in your own skin, and fully engaged. Women of high emotional intelligence, the ones worth building something real with, respond not to aggression, but to groundedness, to the quiet confidence of a man who moves through space with intention. The firmness of a touch, calibrated appropriately, sends that signal. It says, I am not afraid of this moment. It's reactivity. You touch her, and then you watch. You look for the micro-expression of approval or discomfort. You scan. You wait. And the moment you do that, the moment your next action depends on her reaction, you have handed over the entire frame of the interaction. Here's the psychology behind this. Leadership in social dynamics is determined by who holds their state, regardless of external feedback. When you touch and immediately seek validation from her response, you signal that your confidence is conditional, that it requires her permission to exist. And conditional confidence is not attractive. It's anxious. It creates pressure where there should be ease. The correct approach, and this is the part that requires real inner work, not just technique, is to touch from a place of natural extension rather than strategic testing. Your touch should feel, to both of you, like something that simply happened because it made sense in the moment. Not a move, not a test. A natural expression of the connection you're already building. This doesn't mean ignoring her signals. Calibration is real, and it matters enormously. But calibration comes from peripheral awareness, from a soft, ongoing read of the emotional temperature of the interaction, not from pausing your own confidence to conduct a diagnostic. The man who is truly present reads the room while remaining in his own frame. He never breaks his flow to seek approval. The difference between a man who checks for permission mid-touch and a man who touches and remains grounded is felt immediately. One creates tension, the other creates ease, and ease is the soil in which attraction grows. It starts before the touch. It starts with your posture, your pace, your breath. The man who moves slowly and steadily, not lethargically, but without rush, has already communicated something before he's made any physical contact. His physical presence says, I am not chasing. I am not desperate. I am simply here, and here is a good place to be. When the moment for touch arises, and these moments arise naturally in real conversation, real connection, you move with that same quality of groundedness. Your hand has a destination. It arrives. It stays for a moment that has meaning, and then it withdraws cleanly, not abruptly, not apologetically, cleanly, and you continue the conversation. You continue looking at her. You don't reference the touch. You don't make it significant by treating it as significant. Because the man who is truly comfortable with physical connection doesn't need to make a performance of it. It was simply part of the moment, like a sentence that fit exactly where it belonged. The fatal mistake isn't really about touch at all. It's about the relationship you have with your own worth. Every hesitant touch, every ghost contact, every glance away, every desperate scan for approval, all of it is the body broadcasting a single sentence: I'm not sure I belong here. And the correction isn't a technique, it's an inside job. When you genuinely inhabit your own presence, when you are fully here, not performing, not hoping, not calculating, your touch becomes an extension of that presence. It becomes natural. It becomes grounded. And it lands completely differently. The women you're most drawn to, the ones with confidence, emotional intelligence, and genuine self-respect, they feel all of this. Not in words, not consciously, but they feel it in the quality of your attention, the steadiness of your gaze, the intention behind your hand. So the real question isn't, how should I touch her? The real question is, am I fully here right now? Because when the answer to that is yes, genuinely yes, everything else follows naturally. I'd love to know where you recognize yourself in this. Has there been a moment where you felt yourself hesitate? Where you pulled back before she even had a chance to respond? What do you think was really behind that hesitation? Leave your answer in the comments below. I read every single one of them, and conversations like that are how this community grows into something real. And if this kind of psychology, the kind that actually helps you understand yourself and the people around you, is something you want more of, subscribe to Psychology with Natalie Whitman. New content goes up regularly, and every video is built around one thing: giving you clarity where there used to be confusion. See you in the next one.